everyone, my name is Tina and welcome to my Genshin channel. We have a lot of changes coming in this next patch. First of all, we have a new name called Song of the Welkin Moon Segway. This will be Luna 1. And Segway is a pretty interesting name choice because even 5.8 was called Introduction and this one will be called Exposition. Those are directly the terms for the sonata form, which is a fun little nod to this whole song theme, especially since the Moon Sisters as well have like song names. But if you're curious about the lore we learned here, I've already made a whole video about just lore, so make sure to check that one out. Here I want to talk about in-game stuff and a bit about collabs later too. First of all, we have seen a few more letters for the Nod-Krai script, which personally as a language nerd I'm super hyped for. Now it's almost complete, we only have a few more letters left. But as for more of the environment, we have seen the Kuhenki, who will help us with puzzles. And we have seen how these puzzles would work, both in this special program, as well as the recently released robot comics, further confirming that everything will be about magnets, magnet mechanics. The Kuvaki will be blue and red, and just like magnets, same color would repel each other and different color would attract each other. This will be used all over Nod-Krai in every single form. If you don't use a character who has Kuvaki, you're gonna be able to get it by hitting animals. And this Kuvaki, once again just like magnets, can be used against enemies too, like attracting their weapon or repelling their shield to knock them back. Another new thing we'll be getting in Luna 1 is the Lunar Bloom. We've already seen Lunar Charge with Inefa, but Lunar Bloom will be a new reaction. It will convert Dendro cores to Lunar cores, and they will give stacks of so-called Verdant Dew. So let's talk about Lauma, the first character who will use these Verdant Dew. As in short, the more stacks you have, the more it's gonna enhance Lauma's abilities. She will be a 5-star Dendro Catalyst, and while this isn't really a kit explanation video, there are already many other creators for that. TLDR, she will scale off Elemental Mastery and will be very similar to Nahida. You want to generate Verdant Dew up to 3 because consuming them will give her skill a boost. Lauma's burst will further increase the party's damage, and this burst will also scale with how many Verdant Dew stacks you have. She will also have some pretty nice passive talents. She will interact with the animals, and for example, deers can heal your team, while others will bring her items and even ores. She will also probably need other Nod-Krai characters to even further increase the damage, so the free Aino everyone gets will be very useful. And with that, let's move on to Aino. She is the first Hydro Claimer in the game, and while she doesn't have a Moon Veil, it's not clear if she would be able to do lunar reactions by herself, or if she would still be able to use Kuvaki because she's an inventor and uses her invention to do lunar stuff while only having a vision. It could be a good way to keep the lore accurate. Nonetheless, she will be a pretty good Hydro support and EM buffer. Her skill is similar to Kinich or any other jumpy character. Tap for a quick jump, hold to aim, and she will deal some hydro damage where it lands. Her burst will generate an area where she deals hydro damage, so that's why she's gonna be a pretty good unit with Lauma. While she does not have a vision, it seems like she will still increase the moon sign in a team. Moon sign being just how many Nod-Krai characters you have, and the more moon sign you have, the more Nod-Krai characters gain a buff. Her constellations are also pretty good, so make sure to keep wishing even after getting her for free. And finally, both her and Inefa have special friendship mechanics, where if you upgrade them to level 6, they're gonna get bolts. And once we exchange these bolts, they can give a special look to both Aino's gadget and Brigitte too. And while Flins will be coming later, he will be an Electropole Arm user, pairing up pretty well with Inefa and maybe Aino too, to maximize the moon signs once again. His elemental skill is somewhat similar to Raiden, where he would infuse the attacks with Electro. However, after using his skill, you get a cheaper burst that deals about the same damage, so it's still pretty useful. But again, this is not a kit video, so just some more fun interactions. He will be able to hear the Wild Hunt monsters unlike other characters, and his lantern will start glowing whenever danger is ahead, so that's pretty cool. In the first phase of Luna 1, we will get Lauma and Nahida, alongside the Chronicle Wish with Sumerian characters. So if you really want Lauma and Nilo, you can get both of them. They make a pretty good team comp. And it seems like for phase 1, the 4-star characters are gonna be Kave, Shinobu, and Barbara. I'm just saying, DPS Barbara is so back. If you don't have her C6 yet, it is your time. While the second phase will give you Flins and Yellen, once again a pretty good comp together. So if you missed out on them but you have a lot of money, you can build your whole team basically in these phases. And it seems like Aino will be coming phase 2, so while you will get Aino for free at the start, for the constellations you will have to wait until phase 2. Now onto the quests. The story quests will be more integrated into the Archon quest this time around, starting with Lauma and then Flins. Kinda similar how the 5.8 Archon quest was more about Inefa as well, but there still be world quest type of missions called meeting point. We've seen 3 so far, for the Lightkeepers, for the Frost Moon Seals, and for the Krumkaka shop, where you can explore those areas and with that increase the level in that region. And for Columbina, there will be a special tab where you can do kind of like chores for her, and she will share stories with you, probably also giving us the usual Archon answers as well. And talking about the story, infiltrating the Fatui also gives us new mechanics like taking over the Roombas and getting into secret places. They said you'll be able to choose between 2 different styles how to do these, either sneak around using these mechanics or just go head first and fight them. You better do that fast though, because after a while they will alert each other and even stronger opponents gonna appear. However, if you like challenges, there will be an upgraded local legends tracker too, where besides just beating them, there's also gonna be challenges like avoid getting hit by any of the electro attacks. All of these for even more extra Primo gems. To check out all the different challenges, you have to go to Catherine, who seems like got her job back from Sandrona. And if you want even more challenge, the Imaginarium Theater added a new mode called Lunar Mode, where you will be able to get tarot cards from the witches, and you can even exchange these with your friends if you have friends. As for the events, the Traveler's Tale will become permanent, and you can even summon new characters on the map. You just have to pay a visit to Miko and wish for these characters to magically appear. We will also get pretty good anniversary rewards too. 10 wishes, 1 dust of enlightenment, 1600 primos, elixir, and even some swag in the form of new gadgets. The first one is called Uyola Cat. This will be somewhat similar to the one you could get with the KFC collab in China. Maybe it has even similar mechanics, which if you're interested in, check out my video on the whole KFC collab I made. And you will also get the rotor hovering daybed, where you can like invite your friends to a bed to go around. I don't know how this is gonna be working, but I can feel the meme potential. And besides all of that, once again, you will be able to invite a 5-star character for free. But whoever you choose, you're not only gonna get the character, but also the necessary materials to shoot them straight to level 60 as well. We're also gonna get a few fun events for Luna 1. The first one being Aino's event with a few different things. There's gonna be a flying game with the Kuhenki, where you can get grades just like in Natlan. There's gonna be a fighting part, where it seems like you will have to complete camps for each of these challenges. There's gonna be a game where you need to fix the faulty machines with Kuvaki. And finally, there's gonna be a stealth game where you need to possess the Fatui Roombas and go unnoticed while completing the task. As for Klee's Todoko event, it seems to be like a 4-player Bomberman kind of thing. Kind of as a preview for what's about to come in the UGC game mode, which I will talk about later. And Paimon's camera event will also make a return in Nod-Krai, but this time around you can play costume animations and even pose them for the perfect photos. As for the optimizations, just to run through them very quickly, there's gonna be a few for new players. For example, more things now will give you adventure XP, so if you're not at 60 yet, you can get there faster. The test runs for the Nod-Krai characters will have objectives just like with the Natlan characters, and very importantly, if you have done a trial before for a certain character, you don't have to do it again, you can just claim the reward right away. From the paid battle pass, you can also now get harvestables, so you can level up your characters even faster if you have battle pass. And the Stardust limit in the shop is also increased for a few mats, so if you're using Stardust for that, you can get even more now. And finally, if you're a newer player who likes to play coop mode, the domains will have easier bosses in coop mode, so you're not just dying instantly while trying to fight alongside a higher level player. But even if you're a veteran, you get some pretty good optimizations tailored to you. For example, when you're upgrading your compass, now it will show you all the Nod-Krai, all the chests, all the puzzles in the area. Once again, just like in Natlan, you're gonna get artifacts and dust of enlightenment after you're unlocking the faction's secret rooms. And personally, I think one of the best changes, artifacts now show a preview substat before getting them even to +4, so right away you can tell if this is gonna be a good artifact or a bad one. And staying at the artifacts, you can now use elixirs as well to extract, though I'm not sure how many people would use that, because personally I just have so many artifacts that I don't think I'm gonna be running out of elixirs anytime soon. There has been some pretty good changes to the resin as well. Now in the domains you can choose if you wanna use 20 or 40 for double the reward right away, and Condon's resin will now cost 60 instead of 40, but it will give you triple the rewards. It seems like for a few runs you can also use 50 primos for triple the reward, but that's too much of a veil language for me to really understand the implications. And very importantly, for a week after Luna 1 drops, all talent and weapon essential materials will be available every single day. And now let's move on to the veil section. If I have any veil viewers, this is for you. If you get copies of already C6 5-star characters, you will get this new item called Masterless Stella Fortuna, and you can use it to level up any character even past level 90. One of these Masterless Stella Fortuna will give you 5 extra levels, and it's gonna cap at level 100, which means you can use at most 2 Masterless Stella Fortuna for characters, and you will get these retroactively too, which means if you'd have like a C7 Mona, Jean or Chichi, we might get a few, but this is mostly for Veils. Genshin devs, you don't need to worry about people thinking you lose money on the game. No one thinks that. We are not worried for you. However, if you're at Constellations, there's gonna be a new system where you get a free constellation to a character you already have once you complete some tasks for 8 weeks straight. Though the characters you can choose from is not gonna be include any Archons, and it's only go up to Sumeru, so most meta characters are out of question. Still, you can get up to 4 of these per year, so it's pretty good if you wanna have a C1 or C2 character. However, just a note, you can only choose a character once, so you cannot get a C4 right away. And let's move on to, I think, a pretty important segment about the UGC game mode. I already talked about this, I have a whole video after it was announced in China, but the UGC mode is gonna be what you can imagine like a Fortnite creative mode or Roblox Studio. You can see all kinds of games being made. For example, they showed like a racing game with showing laps taken. They also showed basically a full-on Overwatch, saying if there is no defenders in the circle, the vehicle will start moving, while the character seems to be playing some kind of a Reinhardt. But if you're worried because you would yourself never make these games and you don't want Genshin to be like 200 gigabytes, don't worry, because Miliastra Sandbox will be a separate app to make things, while Miliastra Wonderland will be an addition to Genshin that you can access through the payment menu. But it's using all the Genshin assets, so it shouldn't really add anything extra to the game. In my previous video about UGC, I talked about some of the settings you've seen there, but we even get a better insight here with tabs like level setting, preset manager, setting the camera angles, even preferential settings, so it could be a different layout for mouse and controller potentially. It will use a node system for logic. An example given here is like when you hit something at a given position, it will trigger a loop of various commands. And we could also see this logic could be used to play special effects when something happens. In this case, when a player turns, but it can get any positions of any entity. So this is gonna be very complex, and the games they've shown working on are just the most basic creations you can show. You could also see an animation timeline which is somewhat similar to like Source Filmmaker. So besides just the costume games, I really hope you can also make movies in Genshin. Personally, I would absolutely love to try making movies here. They were still showcasing this card-pushing Overwatch-like mode, but this is probably just made for showcase. The creators will be able to make even more insane modes. And you could also see it has costume controls. Like I said before, it could be optimized for both PC and other platforms as well separately. So if you want to make a MOBA, you can obviously use QWER for the controls. And as for when you can try this out yourself, the release will be somewhat slow, but we, the average players, will first see the demo in the Luna 2 with some selected game modes being playable. There's already a recruitment going in China for a while now for creators. And funny story, I heard in China they are having a hard time finding testers for Nexus Anima because everyone is currently busy testing this mode. Then coming into Luna 3, that's when some presets from creators will become public. But as far as I know, this will still be only available to other creators and not for everyone. And Luna 4 should be when everything is released to the public, as well as a revenue sharing system similar to something like Roblox, which is not doing too well right now. So Genshin came with UGC at the perfect time. It is not entirely clear if the Sandbox app will also become fully public at this time. It kind of seems like that it's only gonna be for selected creators for now. Nonetheless, I hope I can get into that once, and not for the games, but the Movie Maker. Please give me Genshin Movie Maker. Then we saw the official trailer, which obviously was heavily curated and pre-recorded. So what you see here is probably the absolute ceiling of UGC right now. These games will likely not be fully functional for at least a few more Lunas. Still, we've seen customizable characters, which is weird for Hoyo, but I guess Nexus Anima will have it too. We've seen Mario Party, Overcooked, Tower Defense, Rocket League with humans, so football with obstacles and abilities. We've seen obstacle courses too, like Fall Guys, even grabbing the star at the end. We've seen the MOBA, so I can finally leave League of Legends. We've seen Valorant with Jet featured, so I can finally leave Valorant too. And with Nexus Anima coming as well, see you later, Riot Games. We've also seen some track reconstruction game, Bomberman, more arcade-style games in all forms, both single and what seems to be multiplayer too. But this is it for UGC. We have to wait until Luna 2 to get a glimpse of that. Outside the game, there will be various events events across Asia too. On the Chinese stream, we have seen a little cameo from Dawei, who was busy being at Gamescom, but not on day one, the only day I attended. Dawei, why are you dodging me? He announced Genshin Fest in Shanghai at the start of next year, featuring a somehow even more elegant and sexier Flins. These skins are usually only for collabs and not coming to the game, but please make an exception. There will also be chibi harbingers, even the dead ones, the forgotten one, and the one who left you. Wow, the harbingers are going extinct, but they will be in a blind box, so I guess this is the closest we will get to Genshin Labubu. We will also get Fatui merch. We've seen a few shown here, like a cane, some mystery box, and a code. I'm sorry, my wallet. You won't see Happy Days next year either. Besides that, we'll also get Furina earphones. My AirPods started dying, so I might be interested. We will also get a Flins night lamp. I kid you not, I legit cannot sleep in pitch darkness, so I keep the light in the corridor always on. But this might replace that. And we will also have further merch with our EP Chibi boys. After that, more chibi figurines and plushes, as well as a 1:7 scale figurine for both Zhongli and Ei. If you're in Japan, there will be 3 different events in various skyscrapers, kind of like moon observatories, where you can get one random picture of either Aino, Flins, or Lauma. And if you buy the VIP ticket, you will also get a random heart lock, signifying that Genshin will be the only partner in my life. And anyone who enters the event will get random stickers, as well as in-game rewards. And of course, there will be a special merch store with a bunch of new items, as well as some pre-orders for Nod-Krai alongside the items that you can get from the soon starting TVET Expo from Paris. Over in Korea, we will have 2 events. The first one featuring mainly Lynette in her own cafe that will be in Genshin clothing, but her friends Framinette and Lini will also appear there, so don't worry. You will be able to have some Genshin food inside the cafe, as well as Genshin inspired drinks, and of course, merch. There will be fountain theme settings, as well as a photo booth to take some selfies. You'll also be able to make a Genshin business card to show that you mean business. And of course, there will be gacha. The real gacha. There's only one more event left to talk about, also from Korea, where Ryosley is making a band sponsored by Samsung. Chlorine and Sigvin will join him in being punk rock, while they will also rock some Samsung merch like costume earphones. Oh wait, I do have a Samsung phone. Sorry Furina, I might have to go with Ryosley here. But there will also be a mini speaker alongside the guitar pick, among many other things. And this was it. All the in-game and outside the game info we got from the Luna 1 special program. Luna 1 will drop in a short week, so get ready with your Primogems, get ready with your Moras, because this is gonna be a big update. As I said, if you're curious about the lore, check out my previous video as well, where I only talked about lore. And I'm pretty sure this is not the last time you hear about me before Luna 1, because there must be something coming out in the upcoming week too. But nonetheless, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give a like, and if you wanna see more content like this, then make sure to subscribe. I was Aino, my Genshin channel, and see you in the next one. Bye bye!